Here we come to one of the most controversial builds out there, and that is Strykers, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to catch a lot of flack on this video because a lot of people have been showing, oh, 3-piece Stryker, oh, 4-piece Stryker, oh, this is best on Stryker, oh, this weapon is best on Stryker. I'm sorry, but the part I'm going to catch flack on is anybody who tells you that a 3-piece Stryker is best is completely wrong, because one, they're missing out on the extra potential 25% damage that you can gain from Strykers. Now, yeah, it's kind of weird how Strykers works, where I think it's like 1.26 or 1.62, one of those. I can't remember which way it is, but that's the type of damage you would gain. But everybody is always missing that extra damage. And when they're running that 3-piece Stryker, they're just using it so they can get more accuracy out of the weapon handling, which if you're going to use an AR, you might as well use a 3-piece Heartbreaker instead of using the 3-piece Stryker and then trying to get the damage out this way. So we're going to go over several different ways that Stryker can be put together, and we're going to show which one is better and which one is not from what we found on YouTube. So get ready for this one, ladies and gentlemen. So now the very first one is my potential version of Strykers. Now I like the apartment and using the 4-piece with the memento so we can get the extra damage out, and then using the Grupo type chest piece for the crit damage versus using these chest pieces like Strykers right here, which, don't get me wrong, it can be good on a Strykers build, but it takes forever to stack up. And then there's also the Stryker backpack people are using, which you lose out on damage by not using something like Vigilance or whatever you prefer. And then other people are using Coyotes and Catharsis. Some are using like Petrov gloves. Some are using the Overlord knee pads and just doing a 3-piece. And while you get the multiplicatives, it's still not enough damage. So we're going to go over first mainly the chest piece and the obliterate. We're going to put these in comparison to each other. And then we're also going to trade off that backpack for the Strykers backpack to see if it actually does help out the build or not. You know, and then we'll also go again to Coyotes and Catharsis type ideas potentially later on. And again, just so we recap, the Petrov gloves and Overlord knee pads. Now, again, a lot of people are saying certain ones are better with 3 pieces, which they are completely wrong. And then other ones who are using the 4 pieces and using the backpack or chest piece to get the damage out. So let's show these out. So we've got our memento stack from going out and grabbing the tags. So we've got 30% on the backpack, so we can test that versus the Vigilance. Now you see, we shot and we still didn't get a full stack of the Stryker. So using a slower firing weapon will gain those stacks faster. Not always, because those were all gut shots. So it still was not calculating or counting each one of those shots. So that's why we use obliterate, is because we get twice the damage, which the Strykers would take twice as long to stack up if we were to use, say, the chest piece. Now you can even use like Kingbreaker and Focus if you want, or Spotter, Perfect Spotter, using a slower one like you know, LMGs or something like that. That's fine. You wouldn't want to use any of the high RPM. As you can see, like this one right here, it's a little bit slower because we're not getting the added was it perfect magazine. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, but the apartments deal. So what we'll do is we'll let this clear off, and we're going to see if we can stack on just something regular, a regular weapon. You can see, there we go, all of our shots right there, and it still didn't stack. Even just barely burst firing, we still had to hit it twice, and we still weren't fully stacked. And that's with a weapon without perfect measured. So that's only 30 rounds. So let's clear this thing off. And it's 25, okay? We're only getting 25 from just the 4-piece. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had 30 shots in my magazine, and it still didn't stack all the way for the Strykers. There's 50 round magazine. Look at that. It still didn't stack, and that should only be 25 shots. So that's why obliterate is beautiful on Strykers to get that extra damage out. You're getting 25 from Obliterate, plus you're trying to get the 25 out of Strykers. So now we've got the Stryker's chest piece and the Memento backpack. And before this sucker clears, trying to get the damage out to show y'all, which I may not, but again, we're mainly just showing that the Stryker's chest piece, as you can see, there's 50 rounds. There's another 50 rounds, and we're still not fully stacked. It would take you 3 magazines, potentially, to hit all those shots. So again, Stryker's chest piece, not best on the build. You're going to take way longer to stack it out. Now, does it go away as fast? Yeah, but I can easily get Obliterate and lose very few stacks by not using the chest piece. So, now we're going to come to the Coyote's Mask version and the Overlord knee pads, Fox's Prayer knee pads. And again, I'm going to throw up the numbers later on so y'all can see the damage numbers and I can see it myself, because I'm mainly going over all these other pieces as well. Again, this is close and personal, so we're getting the extra crit damage out because we already got enough crit chance from the SMGs. So, yeah, there's the damage numbers for that for the headshots. As you can see, we stacked it all the way out. So, yeah, it's definitely hitting higher. And that's also using the backpack to get those stacks even faster. So, we could potentially put on the Memento backpack and put on the Fox's Prayer knee pads to get that damage out to get it higher if we wanted to. But again, your best thing is the Obliterate chest piece, so that way you can get that damage twice as fast. Now let's test out the Vigilance. Throw the crit damage into there versus the backpack. And we're going to test this version out compared to the other one we had before. So again, I'm not saying that the chest piece will not give you the most potential damage because the stacks don't go away as easily. But if you want to double time your damage because you got to move from one part of the mission to the next part of the mission, you're better off using Obliterate. The 937 on the back end. So yeah, definitely not stronger than the Coyote's Mask.
Nice.
And now comes the newly revamped build with the Catharsis. Now, we do lose some damage, but we can gain it by the backpack and we can gain it from the chest piece. Again, chest piece, honestly, if you want to run it, that's fine. You don't have to run it. But does it keep the stacks up? Yeah, it does. A little bit, not entirely. So we can put on Vigilance, we can put on Companion on the backpack, get the Gruppo out to get the crit damage out. But as you can see, we can also get more damage by using the Catharsis, by getting rid of armor, getting up to that 30 as I'm doing right now, and then coming over here, shooting the target, and then getting our damage this way. Now, at the same time, if our Catharsis were to drop, we could actually get heals. Now, it's not great heals, but it's some heals. And the more players we have nearby, we have the incoming. So if they're using a Catharsis or something like that, or a healer, we get that incoming. So again, you can stack it up really quick with, you know, an ACS 12. I'll demonstrate that later. And then just swap out to whatever your main weapon is and just keep the damage up there and keep it going. While we got this going, let's go ahead and put it on a vulnerable elite. Well, you see on the back end we're hitting for 836, and then when we hit the headshots, look at that, 1 mil. And that's with having more blues on and having some more survivability and that's also trying to stack the chest piece out. Now, you can see the heels are not extremely great, but they're decent. So, I mean, that's still player's choice. Now, when I run a shotgun on the Strykers, I don't really go for the damage because I want to be able to keep hitting them and hitting them because I'm getting the damage out. So I prefer to use fast hands. And you can use whatever talent you feel like you want to use, close and personal, whatever. I just like fast hands because of this. Once I start getting my stacks from the shotgun, because you can stack Strykers up really fast on the chest piece by using this way, and still having your catharsis mass proc, and you see we're almost instant reload, and we're right back to shooting, which means less time having to reload with even these types of shotguns. So in short, Strykers, you do not have to use a chest piece. You can use the chest piece. If you want to shorten the time, because you're using a different weapon than the ACS-12, because you just don't want to use an ACS-12, you can run the Obliterate chest piece to shorten the time and get more damage out quicker. Now, at the same time, you could even do the same with the Obliterate and keep the damage for both, just in case, you know, one starts to decrease or something like that. That's still player's choice, but the chest piece is not a mandatory thing for Strykers. But as you can see, to get that extra damage out of Strykers, you must use that fourth piece. If you use only 3 pieces, period, no matter what you do, you will always be losing damage somewhere on Strykers. So sorry to burst your bubbles on some of you guys who are going to be so mad that, oh, the 3-piece Stryker is still good. I'm sorry, it's really not. You lose a lot of damage potential. Now, survivability wise, again, Memento Backpack is great with Strykers because you get the extra damage out and the armor regen, but you can also go with a Catharsis Mask now, which will give you some regen if you have healers nearby or something else. That gives you more options to put things in different spots now. So it's kind of player's choice.
Nice.